Well, whenever you have free time, even a little bit, practicing Dhamma, you're not just wandering away. You have to come to train yourself to be familiar with all this. This morning, I just talked to monks here while washing their arm bowls. Whatever you do, just try to be aware, self-aware. When you become self-aware, just try to be as natural as possible. Do not judge. Do not fabricate. Whenever you stop fabricating, then there will be no suffering. The more you fabricate, the more suffering you have. All kinds of mental formations or fabrications, once stopped, there will be no suffering. Each person's mind stuck in mental realms, like greedy realms. They have to create something for the mind to reside. Dhamma practitioners, once in practicing, they try to create. This is one of the realms. You have to be aware of it. Sometimes you think you are practicing, but the mind is actually stuck in stillness, the realm of stillness. The realm of stillness, and they think that it's good, and they think that they're practicing. You've got to be aware of it. So the mind becomes strong. Good. If you keep on practicing more subtle, and you could see the consciousness rooted. And whenever you come to practice Dhamma, you're creating realms of Dhamma practitioners. And if you're at home, if you're a husband, you're creating realms of husband. If you're a wife, then you're creating the realms of wife. If you're a father, then you're creating the realms of father or mother. When you're children, you're creating the realms of children. When you're going to work, and you're a manager, you try to create the realms of being a manager to have it, to be at particular or different forms. Keep on practicing gradually, and you can see that we don't understand the role of the noble path. We don't see that the 5 aggregates are actually the suffering. Once didn't know this, then the craving arises. You're craving for the 5 aggregates full of happiness, not suffering. When craving arises, then the mind creates intentions, searching for emotions that makes you happy only, or anything that gives no suffering. So the mind is striving for searching for things, for these things. What a pity. If you want to transcend the suffering, but you keep on creating suffering for yourself, what a pity. Keep on practicing and observe yourself. When am I creating any particular realms? If you could see it, then you can see that the mind keeps circulating on different small or big realms all the time, endlessly. But the mind, sometimes it's a human realms. There are morality and virtues. But sometimes you're being a greedy ghost, hungry ghost, full of cravings and hunger. Sometimes it becomes demons, full of opinions and being self-centered and opinionated. And all kinds of opinions are all wrong views. Sometimes you're going to hell because your mind is blemished and full of hatred. These are the mind that lack of suffering belongs to the hell beings. It's full of hatred and aversion. But if you have the virtues and Dhamma, you being holding up the 5 precepts, and you can stay in the human realms. And if you can being moral more and more, trying to uphold the 5 precepts more subtly, not just like one by one each of the precepts, but if we have the shame of yourself for doing bad deeds and afraid of the bad consequences. This is the Dhamma of angels. If you have these bashfulness and afraid of doing bad deeds, then you become the divine beings. But if you have concentrate on one object of meditations, then that you become subtle realms in Brahma deities. But the mind keeps traveling through different realms. The mind that keeps searching for realms is actually called Samphaves in Bali. It's keep on searching for a place to reside and be born. For example, like human, divine beings, Brahma deities, hungry ghosts, demons, animals. So animals are born out of delusion. So our minds are different beings all the time. They keep on searching for realms on and on. Whenever you're creating realms, you think that you're gonna gain some happiness. If you think that if you realize that you're gonna face suffering, then you won't search for it. So you have to keep on observing yourself within your mind. Your mind creating realms if it happens, no so. And then you can see that every time that realms happen. For example, if you're in the realms of Dhamma practitioners, it's one of the realms. You try to make your mind neat and well behaved. Both body and mind is well behaved, that you're like being a Dhamma practitioner is to be very well behaved and neat and gentle. These are all realms. They are created and you have to be aware of them. And then you realize that whenever the realms are created, then the mind will hold on to mind firmly. Then the suffering arises. Whenever the mind takes a grip on eyes, ears, those 6 sense doors, and the suffering arises because these 6 sense doors are actually suffering themselves. If you hold on to these things, then you're gonna gain suffering. But if you keep on cultivating wisdom on and on, then you realize that these 6 sense doors are actually suffering, then the mind wouldn't hold on to them. If aggregates are there, all the 6 sense doors are there, but the mind won't create realms, and it won't hold on to any of it. The mind will be freed, comfortable, relaxed, light. There is no burden, and freed from all kinds of formations and fabrications. You have to observe your mind as it kept on creating any particular phenomena or realms. And the ones who never practice Dhamma, they're creating hell realms, worse realms. If you keep on practicing, and they're creating, for example, subtle realms like Brahma realms, especially for those who are very diligent in practicing, they're creating these Brahma realms by trying to make their mind still and to be still, indifferent, know nothing, nonchalant. This is good. It's good compared to the realms of worse realms like hell beings, the hell realms. But you won't be able to transcend the suffering. Even though you're Brahma deities or divine beings, they're also subject to suffering. Likewise, human the same. Whatever you are, you're gonna gain suffering. Whenever the realms is there will be suffering. You can observe yourself whenever the mind tries to create the realms. Behind the realms is actually the craving. Once the craving arises, then the mind will root it in six sense. And whenever the mind rooted in those six sense doors, then it causes suffering. And you're practicing, could you see that the mind flow or drift or rooted? Anyone raise your hand? Good. Do not lower your hand yet. I'm going to check whether you're lying or not. Most of you, it's good. You can see them. You can see this. But some of you, the mind stuck in the stillness and they think they couldn't see that the mind rooted in attached to some realms. But when you practice Dhamma till you can see the mind rooted in six sense doors, the eyes, the ears, tongue, body, mind. Whenever the mind rooted in these things, then it will create realms. So you have to keep on practicing. It's not difficult. It is very straightforward and open. But we're not familiar with observing these things. So you have to keep on practicing and training till you can see the mind rooted in these things. Try to take a grip on an object. Once you take a grip on an object, then it creates a realms as soon as it take a grip on an object. Whenever the mind creates realms, the mind will attach to the mind. It will hold on to the mind. And whenever it's rooted in the six sense doors, the mind will hold on to these six sense doors, the eyes, ears, tongue, body, or mind. When the mind take over or attached to the six sense doors, including the mind, it creating a birth. It is called birth. What is birth? Birth is when you acquire the six sense doors, the ayatana in Pali. And the things that the most difficult to let go is the mind itself. These six sense doors, the eyes, ears, tongue, body. Sometimes you see the mind rooted in the eyes or ears or taste or body. But when the mind hold on to the mind, it's very difficult to see. Anyone see this? Raise your hand. If no one can see this, then you keep on practicing. If you can see this, then you realize that it's actually suffering. Nobody creates you self-suffering. You're the ones that cause you suffering because you hold on to the six sense doors. The mind rooted to these objects, to these things, and creating realms. Once you hold on to it, and you think that you are that particular thing, like this one or that one, and then you pick up, especially the mind. This is called birth. As soon as the mind pick up the mind, then it causes suffering right away. So why the mind rooted in these things? The things that makes the mind rooted in different realms is actually the craving. You're craving for seeing image. The mind rooted in that thing. It causes the consciousness to realize. Consciousness is the ones that perceive objects. Consciousness and the mind are the same thing, but in the context of knowing through six senses called consciousness, which is actually the mind. When the craving for seeing image arises, the consciousness will be rooted in the eyes, and you use the eyes to perceive image, and the mind, it causes burden of the mind as soon as it pick up the eyes. Whenever the mind like to hear, the consciousness will root in the ear. As soon as this happens, it causes realms, birth, holding on to the ears. Whenever you think of different stories, you want to know this and that, the mind rooted in the mind, the consciousness roots in the mind, and the mind creates in your realms through the mind, which is especially very difficult, is the realms for Dhamma practitioners. As soon as the mind pick up the mind, it causes suffering. This suffering is very subtle. You have to keep on observing and learning it. Observing these six senses alone as suffering is very good themselves. It's very good itself. But whenever you take a grip on the six senses, it's another level. When the mind keep on searching for different realms and causes suffering on and on, because craving is the one that pushes. The craving is wanting, is the ones that creating its realms and suffering, creating realms, birth, and suffering. The things that we try to eradicate the craving is not permitted to happen. The root of the craving is actually ignorance of the truth. You don't have the quality. You don't truly understand the Four Noble Truth, which is the ignorance. So the root of the craving is actually the ignorance. We don't know the truth. To put it simply, for example, like you see that whenever you think of your body, you think that the body is subject to happiness and unhappiness sometimes, at times. You see that? You can feel that. It means that you don't understand the Four Noble Truth. If you understand the Four Noble Truth with the crystal clarity, you can see that the body is subject to the full suffering. Just to what extent? It's not just sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy. What about the mind? You see that sometimes the mind is happy, sometimes it's suffering. Each day, sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's suffering. Sometimes it suffers. That means you don't understand the Four Noble Truth. If you understand with the crystal clarity, you can understand that the mind itself is actually suffering. And there's nothing more suffering than the mind. It's suffering because of itself. If you understand the suffering in another level by dissatisfying your wanting, if you can't satisfy your wants, then it's a different level. If you keep on practicing more and more, and you'll understand that whether you can satisfy your want or not, it causes suffering anyway, because the mind itself is suffering. But if you can see this, you can see another level. Whenever wanting happens, it causes suffering. Whenever wanting arises, the attachment. Without attachment, without wanting, there will be no suffering. This is another level of Dhamma. It's more shallow, it's more superficial. But deep down, actually, whether you're wanting or not, or craving or not, the mind and the body are suffering. They are different levels of the Dhamma. So whenever you when you submit homework, then I said, you're good. Different levels of being good. It's quite different actually. But it's actually good for yourself. Because if you keep on practicing, doing trial and errors, and you you have the gradual understanding, you get to witness different things that you never seen before. It's good for you to your level. But if you're beyond the goodness, then you understand the role of the noble truth, because you understand the truth that the five are yet subject to suffering. There's nothing else. Nothing but suffering arise, falling away. You can see at this, so that you can let go. If you still see that the body is sometimes happiness and unhappiness, then the mind gives rise to craving for not for the mind, for the body to be happy, not suffering. Because we understand the truth that the body is full of suffering. We only see that the body is subject to both happiness and unhappiness. If there are two alternatives, then you start to pick one. You're trying to search for happiness and get away from suffering, meaning that the mind creating the striving, which is the realms, they're craving for happiness and want to get away from suffering. And they're creating the struggling of the mind to searching for the happiness, and that hasn't come yet, and try to maintain the happiness is already there, and striving for destroying the suffering that you already have. You don't want any suffering to rise ever again, just when the mind keep on struggling. So to summarize in this initial speech, initial talk, if you can see the truth of the body and mind, you only can see that the body and mind are sometimes happy at times and unhappy at others, and causes suffering and craving. You want to searching for happiness, maintain the happiness, and get away from suffering. The craving will arise. Whenever wanting arises, then the mind becomes struggling as soon as it happens. It creating realms, because the realm is actually the struggling of the mind. It is the formation of the mind. So as soon as the mind struggling, the mind will pick up the mind and creating birth. And at the beginning, there's aggregates suffers, but then once you pick up the mind, then the suffering will resonate within your heart. If you want to try to destroy the suffering within your mind, then you have to be aware of the mental formations, which is realms. And be aware, if you can be aware of this one, then that's okay. You have to see that as soon as the craving arises, the mind becomes struggle. Whenever the mind becomes struggle, the mind causes suffering. You can see this in a nutshell. As soon as the craving arises, the mind struggling. For example, if you want to flirt with someone, the mind is struggling. If you want to kick someone, then the mind struggling as well and causes suffering. Craving arises for when you don't understand the truth of the body and mind, the five aggregates. If you're craving for destroying the craving permanently, then you have to understand the truth. You have to learn the truth to give rise to understanding of the vulnerable truth with crystal clarity, and there will be no craving anymore. All human and animals or beings have different methods of extinguishing the craving. For example, if you want to eat something, then you eat them. There will be no wanting. If you want to have an intercourse, then and you did that, then it's all gone. So all humans and beings try to satisfy these wantings. Once wantings are satisfied, then there'll be other wantings again, and the mind keep on struggling. There'll be no true happiness. It's kept on struggling. This is the way that people satisfy the wanting, try to fix the wanting. This is the very not. This is very normal ways of people doing. It happens to animals like tigers or cats. Whenever they're hungry, they satisfy those wanting by trying to chase for some animals to eat. This has happened to animals as well. That's how they do. They satisfy those wanting. Like during mating seasons, like elephants roaming around because they want to satisfy their wanting. That's how they solve the craving, which is only temporarily fixed. Some people like to defy the craving. If they want to eat, they don't want eat. They don't eat. If they want to sleep, they don't sleep. They try to defy these all the time. This happened to uh, some of the monks and some of they try to defy those wanting all the time, like those hermits like Nikon. They know that the craving give rise to suffering, but they couldn't figure out the way to get rid of the suffering. So they try to defy wanting. If they want to eat, they don't eat. They don't want to sleep, they don't sleep. They want to have beautiful clothes, then they just don't wear clothes at all. That's to that extent. If you satisfy the wanting or craving on and on, that's the way of living of normal animals beings. That's when you're satisfied. That's one extreme. But if you defy the wantings, then that's another extreme. You try to suppress to large extent. But the way of the Buddha is the middle path. We try to defeat the craving by wisdom, by learning the truth of the body and mind. Once known that the body and the mind are subject to suffering, you have understanding with the clarity, then the craving for the body and mind to be happy then no longer exists. The craving for the body and mind not to suffering will no longer exist. If you thoroughly understand this, then you can let go of the craving. Buddhists can let go of the craving only one time by letting go of our ignorance. Then there'll be no craving. This is the middle path. It is not go to two extremes. You don't satisfy the wanting and don't defy them as well. But through learning the truth of the body, truth of the truth, to learn the truth of the body and mind, physical, mental parts, you have to have tools. Mindfulness, right samadhi as tools, and the exercises that we have to learn is actually the full foundation of mindfulness. The full foundation is the only path, a single path, the main path for liberation. There's no other ways. If you want to transcend the suffering, you have to conduct full foundation of mindfulness. How? You have to have the home base for the mind. You have to have the home base for the mind, the object of meditation. Without a homes, it's like a stray dog. It's kept on searching for foods, going here and there. Whenever they exhausted, they just lay down. Likewise, the mind that doesn't have a home base, it's like a stray dog, straying, searching for objects, emotions through six sense doors, forms, taste, hearing, physical touch, or the mind, and keep on searching and running, roaming around to see if if you don't want to be the homeless or stray dogs, you have to find the homeless for the mind. For example, the body within the body is like feel the body. For example, body breathing in, body breathing out, or the body is sitting, walking, lying down, moving, staying still. These are examples of the body as a home base, the objects of the body in the body. The body within the body means that we learn a part of the body, a part of within the body, to understand the whole body. Likewise, we're using feeling in the feelings or a sample of mind in the category of mind. Like sometimes you have aversion and non-aversion, greed and non-aversion, not non-greedy mind. If you keep on being aware of the mind that's sometimes greedy, not greedy, the more you know these phenomena, your mind will firmly recognize the phenomena. And as soon as you lack of mindfulness and that phenomena arises, then mindfulness will arise at all cases. The mindfulness that is intentionally make it happen, then it's lack of strength. So that's why you have to understand the truth of the body and mind to transcend the suffering. Now we are at the point where we have to learn the full foundation of mindfulness, to learn the truth of the body and mind. But by doing that, you need to have a home base. Otherwise, the mind will keep on roaming around without trying to searching for the truth. It just kept on searching for happiness and getting away from the suffering, like the stray dogs, hungry dogs. There's no owner, no dog's owner, so it needs to keep on running to searching for food. So if you have the home base, while practicing, I use the mind as my home base. And when I seeing you, a lot of you, nobody can, only few can use mind as a home base because mind is something very swift, but your mindfulness is not quick enough. So you can use the body as object of meditation or home base. For example, the body breathing in, breathing out, no soul. The body sitting down, walking, lying down, moving, no soul. Just sense that. And as soon as you lack of mindfulness and the body moves, then the mindfulness will kick in, automatically become self-aware on your own. And as soon as the mindfulness rises, then the right samadhi will arise automatically together. Because once the right samadhi arises, when the right mindfulness arises, if we rise to right samadhi as well, not all kinds of mindfulness will give rise to right mindfulness. Right samadhi. For example, you see monks and you like to give offering food for them. That's mindfulness, but it's not a mindfulness in the full foundation of mindfulness. It won't give rise to right samadhi, right wisdom. So you have to meditate on objects, be with your body and mind, and what the postures you are in, be aware of them. Keep on training, and whenever you lack of the mindfulness, if the body moves just a little bit, the mindfulness will kick in. You just realize that, oh, I just wander off just now, and the mind become awakened. The mind won't drift away, don't become web. And that moment, the mind sustain the right samadhi. The mind becomes stable observer. So you have to train like this till the mindfulness become automatic. Then it happens till the right mindfulness, till the right samadhi happen automatically. Keep training, and then the mind can cultivate wisdom. Whenever the mindfulness recognize the body movements, the mind will become stable observer. You can see that the body and the mind are two different things. And you can see that the body is subject to three characteristics. The mind that observes the body is only one phenomenon. It's not us. It doesn't belong to us. If you use the feelings as your object of meditations, like happiness arises within your heart, and you be mindful of it, then the mind won't wander off to the happiness, and the mind becomes stable observer and develop right samadhi. When the suffering arises and the mindfulness knows the suffering, the mind won't drift away to the suffering. The mind becomes stable observer, and then you gain the right samadhi. The more you do have more of the mindfulness, give rise to more right samadhi more often, then you get the mental strength will higher and give rise to wisdom automatically without asking for it. Because you have one condition, important one condition is that you have developed the right samadhi, which is the proximate cause of the wisdom. Nothing else. It is the right samadhi that is the proximate cause of the wisdom. How do you get the right samadhi? It comes from the right mindfulness. Once it happens more often in a full flow, the right samadhi. What's the right mindfulness? It is the full foundation of mindfulness. When you do the full foundation of mindfulness, one is done more often, then the mind becomes stable observer. If the mind becomes stable observer, then the actors will be separated. The mind is one thing, the feelings another thing, the form is another thing, the perception is another thing, the mind is another thing. The mental formation is one thing, the mind is another thing. The consciousness, which is the consciousness rooted through six senses, all arises, falls away. The stable observer arises and fall away like other kinds of mind. Keep on training. And one day you'll realize that the body is subject to suffering fully, just to what extent. The mind is suffering, just to what extent. Apart from suffering, there's nothing else that arises and falls away. If you could see this, then there will be no craving, no longer. There will be no longer craving. Why? Why it won't happen? Because you understand that the body and the mind are suffering. How could you make it want to be happy? You giving up being stupid again. If there's no craving, then the mind won't striving, searching for creating realms. If the mind is not struggling to creating them, then the mind won't take grip on the sixth sense, or especially the mind. The mind can let go of the mind. Once the mind can let go of the mind, then there'll be no birth. If there's no birth because there's no realms. Have you heard of this phrase? No birth. It's like what we're training. Keep on practicing. It sounds difficult. Just cultivate the full foundation of mindfulness, and one day you will reach the point that I talked about. I learned from my master as well. They taught what I learned. They pass on this knowledge. I'm not the best. I'm not good, but I'm not the best, but I'm patient. When I was young, I learned with Luangpu Li. He taught me to do mindfulness breathing, making the mind calm. I can't do anything else, so I kept on practicing mindfulness breathing for about 22 years, never giving up. Can you be patient to that level? You're breathing every day, like 22 years. How can you do that? But when I met Luangpu Dun, he taught me to cultivate wisdom by observing my mind, see the changes and movements of the mind. So I kept on doing it without giving up. Since 6th February, I've been doing, many years ago, I've been doing this. You have to fight. Don't keep on being suffering. I pity you, the rest of you. But you're not that pity. The other people outside, those who don't practice Dhamma, their life has no place to reside. It's only suffering. When we come to practice Dhamma, even though the oil price is more expensive, sometimes you have food on your plate, sometimes on your table, sometimes you don't. All these difficulties within your body, but the mind won't suffer. But for those who don't practice, when they have trouble with their body, then they have trouble with their mind as well. So try to conduct full foundation of mindfulness. When the body moves and also just move in naturally and be aware naturally, like moving here, there, nodding. You don't have to try to make it happen. You just move naturally. You're moving all the time. Nobody's just sitting still. You cannot do that. I'm not still. I'm moving all the time. I'm moving and then this pain is there, so I move a little bit. Just moving left and right. There's no like moving in front. Yeah. You see that mind wander off. Like move here, like and you, then all of you just drifting away. Training with the body moves and also. Or if you dislike it, then you can breathe and be aware as well. Breathe in now and be aware. The more subtle, then if happiness or suffering arises or indifference arises, and also the mind is subject to wholesomeness and unwholesomeness and also as well. Keep on training. Then the mindfulness becomes strengthened. The right mindfulness will arise and all the aggregates will be separated and all kinds of aggregates will portray the three characteristics. When you understand this thoroughly, you see that all kinds of aggregates are impermanent suffering and non-self. Shouldn't be let and you can let go. And the mind won't take a grip on the six centers and can't turn the suffering altogether. It's not difficult. To explain this is it seems very easy, but easier said than done. You have to fight, hang in there. That should be all for today. I like to tell some story before just doing submitting homework. Those who want to submit homework, their mind just racing, their heart just racing. What you want to hear? What sort of story you like to hear? To listen. Number one.
เบอร์หนึ่งปฏิบัติตามคำสอนของหลวงปู่ทั้งทางโลก
I practice according to your teaching, both in Dhamma and worldly affairs. While practicing, you see some shrunk in the middle of my chest moving and rising and falling away. The suffering arises and together with that lump in the middle of the chest. If it suffers, I know so. Carry on practicing. Your practice is correct. Good. Then I think that when you're going to stop practicing, how long you're going to practice, it's good. Your mind doesn't like sending out to observe. This one, this lump is suffers, and you observe it in distance. That's good. Number two, I uphold the 5 precepts in formal meditations. I walking meditations about 3 hours and sitting meditation follow me and cultivate mindfulness in daily life. The result is that the mind is calm and becomes stable observer more often. And previously, last time I submit homework, I tried to maintain the mind still, so I try to cultivate the mindfulness to be neutral better. Luang Por said that it's good, and you didn't stuck in that stillness anymore. Carry on practicing. When you practice good. When it's good, you have to keep on cultivating, practicing without expecting any result. If you keep on conducting the deeds, then the result will happen. Number 3. Previously, I am a different religion, but once I practice according to your teachings, I convert to Buddhism, and I do sitting meditation because I couldn't walk well,
เห็นความอยากให้
and
จิ
I
ตส
tried
ง
to
บ
increase my
อยากได้ผล
mindfulness,
โด
and
ย
I
ตรง
see the
จึ
craving
ง
for the
กลับ
mind to
ให
be
ม่
calm.
ส
I
ง
want
บ
to
ก็
be
ได้
quick,
ไม่
but
สงบ
so
ก็
I
ได้
just adjust
ที่
to
ทำอยู่ก้าวหน้า
if
ไหม
it's
คะ
calm, it's okay. Not calm, it's okay. Is there any progress? The Lord said that you can see for yourself whether it's progress or not. You actually know yourself. If you're hurting your knees, then you can sitting in a chair. You don't have to do sitting meditations like on the floor. Your mind sending out a little bit. You see that? If you can see that, then it's good. Keep on practicing. Number 4, it's easy to check the homework now.
เบอร์
Just
4
carry on with the
ภา
practice.
วนา
That's
ใน
it.
รูปแบบอยู่กับร่างกาย
During form
เมื่อ
meditations,
สง
I
บมากขึ้น
with the body.
ใจ
Once
จะ
it
เข้ามาดู
becomes
เจต
calm,
สิ
the
ก
mind
เห็นเกิด
come
ดั
to
บใน
see
ใจ
the mental factors
และ
arising
เห็น
and
ผู้รู้
falling
เกิด
away
ดับ
within your heart, and
มี
see the
ขณะ
knowing
หนึ่
mind
ง
rising and falling
ภาว
away.
นาเห็น
What
ผู้
there
รู้
was one time
เป็
when I
น
could
ตัว
see
ที่
the
แทร
knowing
ก
mind
ไหลไปตามอาร
as
มณ์
the ones that
เกิดดับไว
wavering and
มาก
moving,
จิ
rising,
ตปั่น
falling
ป่วน
away with
ใจ
the
จะ
objects,
ระเบิด
and
ออ
it
ก
was suppressed
ตอนนี้
as
เข้า
if
ใจ
it,
ว่า
the chest,
ตัว
my chest
รู้
is going to
คือ ตัว
explode.
ทุกข์
I can see that the
พ
knowing
ยายา
mind
ม
is the
วาง
suffering itself,
แต่ทำให้
and
วา
it's
ง
trying
ไม่
to
ได้
let go,
ต้อง
but
อา
I
ศัย
couldn't
เห
let
ตุ
go.
ขอความเมตตาให้ความกระจ่างครับ
Can you kindly advise? You seem to understand what I'm teaching since this morning, that these are all that I kept taught.
คือความไม่รู้แจ้งอริยสัจเท่านั้น
The cause is the ignorance of the Four Noble Truth. If you can understand the Four Noble Truth, then you can let go of the craving. And if you can let go of the craving, then you won't take a grip on any six sense. It's good that you could see the mind that pick up the mind. That's very good.
เก่งเนาะละเอียดนะ
Very good. It's very subtle, yeah.
อย่าน้อมจิตให้ซึม
Do not incline the mind towards stillness and drowsiness.
โมหะ
It's not
จะ
good.
แทรก
Otherwise, the drowsiness will come
เป็น
in.
ไงรู้ว่าเป็นงั้น
Whatever the mind is like, just know so.
อย่าบังคับ
Do not
บังคับที่ดึง
control the mind. You just control the mind a little bit. You let go as it is. If the mind is
รู้สึกที่กาย
if the mind is very turbulent, just be aware of the body. You see the body moving.
จิตมันจะค่อยๆปรับ
If the body moves, know so.
สมดุล
And the mind will come to your base and be more gentle and balanced and well-behaved.
จิตมีปีติ
And you can carry on observing the phenomena, happiness or raptures arises, know so. Your mind is good. Number 4,
ตัวที่จิต
keep carry on with your practice. Now your mind setting out to know.
ถ้าจิตถลำลงไปรู้ก็รู้ทัน
Once the mind setting out to know so as
เรา
well.
จะไปติดอยู่กับสิ่งที่ถูก
Otherwise, you will stuck on the objects that the mind tries to be away.
เบอร์ห้า
Number 5,
เบอร์ 5 เดินจงกรมสลับกับนั่งสมาธิ
I do
2
walking
ถึง 3
meditation
ชั่วโมง
and
ต่อ
taking
วัน
turns sitting
ใน
meditations
ชี
for
วิต
about 2 or
ประจำ
3
วัน
hours a
ดูจิต
day. In
จิต
daily
ก็
life, I
ยังหล
try to
ง
observe the
ได้
mind,
ใจไม่
but
เป็นกลาง
the
ชอ
mind
บ
drift
ความ
away for a
สุ
long
ข
period of time. The
ไม่
mind
ช
is
อบ
not
เห็นความ
neutral.
ทุกข์
I like
แต่
happiness. I
ตลอ
don't
ดเว
like
ลาเห็น
suffering.
ความทุกข์
Be-
ก็จะพยายามเปลี่
Previously,
ยนอารมณ์
I like
แต่
to
ตอน
change
นี้
change
ทน
the
ดูได้
objects
มาก
when I
ขึ้น
see the suffering. But
โดย
now
ควา
I
ม
enjoy
ว่า
the
รู้
pain.
ว่า
I
ไม่ชอ
enjoy
บ
observing
ขอ
the
คำแนะ
suffering.
นำค่ะ
Once I dislike, I know
ดู
so.
ไปนะจิต
Keep
เป็
on
นกลาง
observing.
รู้ว่าไม่
The
เป็น
mind
ก
is
ลาง
not neutral, know so.
ถ้าจิตไม่เป็นกลางจิตจะเกิ
If
ด
the mind is not neutral, there will be struggling of the mind.
จะพยายามแก้
It will striving
แก้
for
ไม่ได้
fixing
เสีย
things,
เวลา
fixing here and there,
อะไร
waste
เกิ
of
ดก็
time.
รู้ไปซื่อๆ
Whatever
ด้วยความ
happens,
เป็น
just
กลาง
know, honestly
จิตจะไม่
knowing that
ดิ้นรน
with neutral mind, then the mind
มั
won't
นรู้
struggling.
ที่รู้เลย
Once you know, just know, and that's
เบ
it.
อร์ห้านะจิตมันยัง
For
ดิ้
you,
นอยู่
number 5, the mind still
จะเอาอัน
struggling.
นี้จะไม่เอาอันนี้อะไรยังดิ้นอยู่
Want
ฝึก
this and
ดี
didn't want that. Keep on training. Good.
แอบไปยิ้มก่อนเบอร์หก
Number 6,
หลวงพ่อยิ้มเบอร์หกเมื่อกี้นี้
เบอร์ 6 สวดมนต์เช้าเย็น เดินจงก
I
รม
chanting
นั่งสมา
morning
ธิ
and evening
ดู
chanting
ร่าง
and
กายเคลื่อ
walking
น
and
ไหว
sitting meditations,
ระห
observing
ว่าง
the body
ทำบริกรรม
movements.
ไตร
In
สรณ
daily
ค
life,
ม
I
เป็นเครื่องอยู่
I
ของจิต
chant
ป
the
ฏิบัติแล้ว
Daisanako
เห็น
as
คุณ
a
ในตัวเอง
homemade.
ได้ดี
And
ขึ้
when
น
I'm practicing, I
โดยเฉ
see
พาะ
more of
ตัว
my
รู้
defilements,
ของ
especially the
ครู
conceitedness,
เห็นการปรุง
self-center.
แต่งของจิต
and I see the fabrication of the mind. Sometimes I fabricate the mind myself. I'm not sure whether I practice this. I could see these things
เห็นได้อยู่
really or just
ตอน
think
เนี้ยจิตออกนอกรู้สึกไหม
you can see it. But now your mind
จิ
is
ตไปอ
standing
ยู่ข้าง
out.
หน้า
Your mind is in
ว่าง
front of
จับ
you.
ได้อ
It's
ยู่
bright and
กลับเข้ามา
empty in front of you. Just come back.
อย่าไปหลงค้างอยู่ที่นั่นนะ
You're not stuck in there.
นะจิตออกนอก
Otherwise, the mind will be sending out. Just try to be self-aware.
เข้ามาได้
Good. You can come
ไม่เหมื
back.
อนกันเห็นไหมดูออกไหม
It's different.
ใช้ได้
See that?
เก่งแล้ว
It's good.
อีกเบอร์ 7
Carry on. Number 7.
เบอร์ 7
แป๊บหนึ่งเบอร์
Hold
4
on a
คน
sec.
เพ่งจ้องนะ
Number 4. Now you're
แล้ว
focusing.
วิญญาณเขาหยั่งลงไป
The consciousness
รู้
rooted
ข้างนอกแล้ว
in knowing outside things.
เบอร์ 7
Number 7.
เบอร์
เบอร์
7
4 เบอร์ 4 อย่าดิ้นรน
Number 4. You
ไม่
shouldn't
ต้องดิ้นรนนะ
struggling.
เห็นร่างกายหายใจ
Don't
อ
do
อก
that.
เห็น
You
ร่าง
don't
กาย
have to do
เปลี่ยน
that.
ท่า
See the body
ดู
breathing
ให้
in
ดู
and
เป็นป
out.
กติเลย
Just knowing with a neutral mind, with
เอาไว้
normal
สมาธิ
mind,
เกิด
natural
ขึ้น
mind. Number 4. You're struggling too much.
เอาเบอร์ 7
Number 7.
ถือศีล 5 เป็นปกติ รู้ลมหายใจ
I
เป็นวิ
uphold
หา
the
ร
5
ธรรม
precepts
รู้ว่าหลง
being
บ่
aware
อย
of the
ฟุ้ง
breath
ง่าย
as an
เห็น
observation.
ความรู้สึก
I'm
ตัว
scattered very easily. I can
เห็น
see
กิ
the
เลส
self-awareness
เกิด
and
แล้วดับ
all requirements
เห็น
arise
ใจ
far
ทุกข์
away.
น้อยบ้าง มากบ้าง
Sometimes the mind
มีความ
suffers,
รู้สึก
sometimes
อยา
it
กให้
doesn't
ดี
suffer.
ขึ้น
I
คุณ
want to
เน้น
be
พัฒ
better
นา
and
เรื่องใด
better.
เพิ่มเติม
Is
คะ
there improvement that I
ดู
should
ไป
have?
ตัวไหนเกิด
You can
รู้
observe defilements, whatever had happened, just
เค
know.
ยเห็นตัวกูเก่งไหม
You see the
ไปดู
self-center
เดียวโย
being
น
conceited. Just observe this one. It happens quite often.
กระจอก เห็นไหม
Uh,
มองคนอื่น
uh,
กระจอก
you feel that, oh,
กู
this
เก่ง
guy's
ไปดูให้
not
ดี
good,
นะ
that good. I'm better.
ดูตัวนี้ได้นะเก่งแล้วนะตัวนี้ดู
If
ยา
you
ก
can observe it, that's good because it's something very
เบอร์
difficult to
8
observe. Number 8.
เบอร์ 8 ปฏิบัติในรูปแบบวัน
I
ละ
practice in
1-2 ชั่วโม
formal
ง
meditations for
ส
about 1 or
วดม
2
นต์
hours.
เดินจงกรม
And
รู้
I
สึก
chant
กายที่เดิน
and
นั่ง
walking
สมาธิ
meditations,
รู้สึก
observing
กาย
the
ที่
body
หายใจ
movements.
บางครั้ง
While sitting
เน้น
meditation is
การเดิน
observe
จ
the
งกร
body
มเป็น
breathing.
หลัก ใน
But
ชี
I
วิตประ
can't
จำ
focus
วัน
on walking
รู้สึก
meditation
กาย
more.
ที่เดิน
In daily life, I
และรู้
observe
สึก
the
กาย
body
ที่หายใจ
movements of
เป็นวิ
walking
หารธรร
and
ม
the body that
ความ
breathing
รู้สึก
as
ตัว
of
ไม่ค่อย
object
ได้
meditation.
หลงนา
I couldn't be
ขอ
somewhere
คำชี้
and
แนะข้อคิด
wander off for a long
เจ้า
period
ค่ะ
of time, so I kindly
การ
ask
เอา
for
จิต
advice. Do
เข้า
not
ไป
incline the
ไป
mind
เป็นภพอะไร
towards
นะ
the
เข้าไป
realms.
แล้วให้มันนิ่ง
You intensely incline towards
ๆกลับ
the
มาเป็นมนุษย์ธรรม
stillness
ดา
and make still. Just be a normal person.
แม้จิตมันเข้าไปอยู่ตัวนั้นแล้วโมหะแทรก
Otherwise, otherwise the
มัน
delusion
ก็จะ
will
ซึมๆดู
infiltrate
ได้
and they become drowsy
แล้วมันไปต่อไม่ได้
and you cannot
กลับมารู้สึก
continue your
รู้
practice.
สึกเราในร่างกายนี่แหละ
Just try to come back and be aware of within the body.
รู้สึกไหม
Just
มันไม่เหมือน
being
กัน
self-aware.
ไม่ทำ
It's
จิต
different.
ว่างๆลอยๆอย่างนั้นไม่ดีเคลิ้มไป
If you
มัน
make your
ไม่
mind
ได้
empty like
รู้สึก
that, you become
เปลี่ยน
wandering
ให้รู้
away.
ตัวอย่างให้ได้
When the body moves
ที่
also,
ทำตัวได้ไปติดเฉยๆอยู่
when you're practicing, you're stuck in stillness.
ที่พวกเราไปเล่าลือกัน
A lot of you
พลาด
been
มาก
talking that I was so
เมื่อวาน
sick
ที่เทศ
that I skipped yesterday's
ก็บอกไป
talk.
ตั้งเดือนแล้วว่า
I already told you
วันพุธเมื่อวาน
for a
ไม่
month
มี
already,
นะ
like I'm not going
บ
to
อกล่วงห
give
น้า
talk
ตั้งเดือน
today.
ไม่ใช่ปาฏิหาริย์นะ
I already
เป็น
informed you
ปก
like
ติ
a month ago. It's nothing miracle.
มีการวางแผนการทำงาน
It's strategy. It's
ช่วงอาทิตย์
strategic
ที่ผ่านมา
planning.
เนี่ยพระอาจารย์อาอะไรเนี่ยวิ่ง
Last week in Prajana
ต่องาน
have to run a lot of
ทำงาน
business,
ปักโบ
doing
สถ์
different things
บท
like
สร้าง
um,
โบสถ์เขตวิ
like
สู
doing
สู
anything about the things about chapel. There's a lot of
แล้ววัน
things
พฤหัส
involved.
หลวงพ่อก็ต้องไปโรงพยาบาล
And on
ได้ยินว่าหลวง
Thursday,
พ่อ
I
ไปโรง
need
พ
to
ยาบา
go
ล
to
ป่วยหนั
hospital.
กอีกแล้ว
When I see hospital
รู้สึก
and
แช่ง
people
เอา
think that I'm very sick,
ไปตรวจร่างกาย
I just have
ตรวจ
a
แล้ว
body
เอา
exam
ดีทุกอย่าง
examine.
เลยเป็นไปตาม
Everything's
วัย
good. according to my age. Then I understood. I already knew that. Understand my age. Keep on working like this every day. It's not gonna be enough. So yesterday I didn't keep talk. I already planned this ahead of time. Teaching Dhamma requires a lot of strength. It's not like reading books and I just reading aloud. It requires a lot of strength. If the mind becomes so exhausted, the mind don't want to teach anymore. It wants to take some rest. So I let myself rest for a day. Yesterday, when you cultivate wisdom, you have to take some rest from time to time. Once the calmness crept in, then to summarize, I didn't. In conclusion, I didn't have any bizarre disorder, disease. I only age. My heart is good. I examined my heart and it's good. And the doctor that used to examine me, and they afraid of my heart will be irregular. But actually, my heart is stronger than the hearts of my doctor. You see that the mind is more relaxed. When I talk about worldly affairs, then you'll be more relaxed. But whenever you think of, whenever I talk about Dhamma, you'll be like this, stiff and stressful. But it's like these are all realms. Sometimes it's relaxed, sometimes it's stressful. Just be aware of these realms. The mind will reside lost in these realms all the time. Let's go home.